Portland today, and as you look at your screen watching our show, we're going to start our show talking about screen time and how it could be, if not done in moderation, harmful to your kids. Hopefully I have the topic of this conversation correct. Dr. Bonnie Nagel will set us straight. She's a professor of psychiatry and behavioral neuroscience at OHSU. Bonnie, welcome to the couch.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, I should get off of this. I'm being rude. I'm sorry.
What are you doing with the screen?
Put the screen down.
I was apprehensive. I was scared of this segment because I feel like I'm going to feel like a bad parent because my little one, my 7-year-old, she loves her tablet and playing games and all that stuff.
Right.
The idea of this segment is to talk about how screen time does affect our kids' brains. And I'm going to assume it's a negative effect, but I'll let you explain.
So I don't think that's a totally true assumption. I think that there are pros and cons, just like with everything else. And the research has been certainly growing in this area because, as you noted, your child loves that screen and they look at it all the time. And so, yes, moderation is the key here. It can do both positive things and negative things. So certainly, just like all of us, sitting down and watching a movie or playing a game can be a good relaxation strategy, if done in moderation. There's actually studies to show that on the positive side, it can improve your response speed and do things like that for your brain.
Okay.
The downside is when we do it too much. And so we certainly want to think about what it's doing in terms of the content we're looking at. If it's a violent video game or a reward-based video game, which many are, it is going to impact that circuitry in the brain.
Well, doctor, the difference between watching TV. I mean, when I was a kid, growing up in the 60s and 70s, the deal was you're watching too much television. Is this really the same thing or is it different?
It's different. It's not the same, right? So when you watch TV, you're not necessarily being interactively rewarded for your behavior, right? So you're passively relaxing and watching something. It does have some negative consequences as well, so we certainly recommend not even watching TV under a certain age, stifling creativity, sitting on a couch as opposed to being outside doing activities or more creative things.
And what is that age?
So certainly we want to try to avoid screen time pretty much altogether below 2 years of age. And then I think in our early developmental childhood years, we want to really keep it under probably about an hour. The overall American Academy, the American Academy of Pediatrics will say under 2 hours total all through development, which is hard when we think about some of the social interaction being tied to media.
Right.
So I think it's unrealistic to think that that kids are not going to use screen time at all, but we need to think about it in moderation.
But let's be real. I mean, we carry these phones around and we're on them all the time, looking at, and the kids watch what we're doing, and then they say, "Oh, Mom, what do you got?" And then, you know, if you need 5 minutes to jump in the shower or fix something, and you're like, "Here, do this."
We went on a road trip. I was saying, and that was our saving grace. You know, back in the day, we would like play the license plate game and that type of thing. But these days, it was like, "Oh, great, she's on the iPad, she's fine. We
How
can
do you
make
be
it."
a good model, though, of ourselves not looking at it?
So I think part of it is to be very aware, and the way what you're describing is that awareness, right? So our kids learn from watching our behavior, especially at an early age, and so really thinking about not being on your phone, especially during certain times. So I think one of the things to think about is having designated screen-free times in life. Dinner time, during a conversation. We all know that if you're sitting and having a conversation with somebody and they pull out their phone, it's kind of obnoxious. And so don't do that with your children either, because they're having a conversation with you. And I think it's important to just keep those screen-free zones. And if you are going to be on your phone in front of your child, maybe tell them why you're doing it. So as particularly over the summer as working parents, which we are, thinking about kind of, I have to check this because I'm waiting for something for work. I'm going to get off of it now in a minute, and really talking them through it so that they know why you're on it and when you're going to be off.
What about just planning screen-free activities? That's another strategy that people can use because
especially in summer. I mean, you think like get outside, play outside.
Absolutely.
Right, so I think it's really important to plan those camps, outside activities, play dates, things where they're not going to be sitting in front of a screen. Now it is challenging when a child's play date, what they want to do is play video games.
We say no. That's a big no in our house.
That should be a no in your house.
You have a friend over, you don't spend it on electronics.
It should be a no in your house.
You must talk to each other and find things to do.
Have you guys ever been to a restaurant, and it's so sad, I've seen like an entire family not engaging, not looking each other in the eye, all on their screens, and I'm thinking, oh man,
you see that a lot.
Sad.
Well, here's the deal. I will out an entire community of mine because we just went to, and this frustrates me, group baseball. The team goes out to a team dinner after the game. Now, this is adults and kids. You know, if you're learning from the adults are all talking. We're eating, we're drinking, we're talking. 2 kids out of the group of 12 will bring those screens in, and every kid is around that kid, and they're hovering and they're playing. And I'm thinking, really? There's 12 kids here. Do we need that screen to keep these 12 engaged? Can't they just talk and be friends? And you know, why is that screen at the table? It drives me nuts. I said it. You heard it. Families in my community, now you know it drives me nuts. Leave the things in the car. We're eating dinner.
Yeah, dinner should be, for all intents and purposes, dinner should be a screen-free zone. Whether it's a dinner at a restaurant, dinner at home, I think that's a time when we really need to interact, and we can very easily. And so leaving it in the car would be a good strategy there.
What's a way to wean your kids off if they are really into it, but now you're thinking, okay, I got to pull back the screen time?
Set limits. I mean, really talk to your child about sort of what the amount of time that you're going to allow, when it's going to be okay, when it's not going to be okay, what kind of content is okay and what's not.
Turn the Wi-Fi off too.
Oh yeah, sometimes.
That's off for everybody in the house.
Yes, exactly. But maybe that's not a bad thing either. So, but I think it's really a matter of just planning that for that moderation, and if you are thoughtful and you can engage your children in conversations about setting those limits and what they're going to look like, I think that they're still going to resist it a bit, but that'll be a little bit more, it'll go more smoothly in the day-to-day activities.
How about no screen time while going to bed? I mean, you're going to bed.
That's an important one.
Just why is that thing in the bedroom now? Get it out of there.
So it is a catch-22 for some parents, because we do have to realize in today's day and age, that's how communication occurs, especially for teens. So the texting is the primary means of communication, and we don't want to totally take that away. At the same time, we do know that looking at a screen right before bed is going to impact our sleep. And impacting our sleep is going to impact our functioning throughout the rest of the day. And so it's really, really important to have at least a period of time before bed, whether it's in the room or out of the room, a period of time where you turn the screen off.
Turn it off, shut it down.
Yeah.
We need to have you back before Christmas. What's every kid want for Christmas? They want
I just bought another tablet for Amazon Prime Day yesterday.
It happened.
This was your first live TV interview experience.
Yes.
You nailed it.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you for coming on, Dr. Bonnie.
Thanks so much.
Bonnie.
All right, talking about